Alrighty then, so I made a tier list the other day, and the backlash on it was pretty surprising. Some are saying like, "This is the worst tier list you ever made," and a lot of other issues. I would agree with certain things. I would disagree with a lot of things. And it's just some people forget a lot of fucking things to make up assume shit. So I'll clarify on some of them, and I'll introduce you to the new idea I have in order to make sure this doesn't happen again. And my point is finally actually made clear. I mean, let's see. One of the worst examples of this is somebody claimed I never played the game anymore, or as I therefore didn't know what I was talking about, which doesn't make sense. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't have a lot of games this week. I can't take a week off. My hand is hurting, so like I have a cut in it, and I decided to take a break while the pain goes away. So that was kind of stupid. Then someone say, "Oh, Stonewall's tier lists have always been wrong. Like he always only puts champions in the spots after the fact. He never predicts any junglers coming to rise," which is one of the stupidest things I ever read. Considering I got a lot of shit talk for having Skarner in tier 1 for the longest of time, and telling people, "Oh my god, he's fucking overpowered," and because people don't know. This was before his nerf, of course. And then like people say, "Oh, you should just I can't take Stonewall seriously. He still has Skarner in rank 1," and then he gets used, and then everybody's like, "Oh my god, Skarner's overpowered." And then I actually got one of the stupidest things ever. I had Skarner in number 4th spot of tier 1. Somebody after Skarner being there for a long time, somebody goes, "Hey Stonewall, you're completely wrong. You should have Skarner at higher on tier 1." I'm like, what? Skarner's been there for the longest fucking time, and I had reasons to put him there. And now I'm apparently wrong in his position, and not wrong in that I have him in tier 1, but that I should raise him even higher. Whatever. And it's been the same case too. Been the same thing too with like Maokai and Shyvana. Way before Shyvana tier 1. I mean, season 1, 2, that little bridge right there. That crap. And other on Shogath too. Just people are stupid. I already admitted that, yeah, I was pretty much wrong on Volibear. And that's something people are missing. Like, oh, Stonewall had Volibear in tier 4, so he's a complete idiot. I'm like, yeah, I did, but I'm owning up to it by admitting, yeah, I was wrong. And then on Nasus, people are saying, "Oh, Stonewall didn't have it, and now he's suddenly there." No shit. I've been telling people that he's kind of hard to consider in how to rank him. So, whatever the case, people were making shit up, and it was kind of getting annoying. Then the other issue was in which people just don't know how the tier list works, and they just go off by reading the numbers and then getting all pissy. It's like they don't read what's beforehand or what's after or whatever. This is pretty much literacy 101. The issue here is either I can't explain it correctly in the descriptions of the tiers, and I don't exactly show it, therefore that would be my fault, or people just choose not to read it, and they just assume all tier 3 means they're shit. No, when in the rules, or at least the way to read the tier list says that they're not shit, that the tier 3 junglers are more situational than the other ones. I made an article some time ago saying that there's too many viable junglers now. Lots of good junglers. You can pick almost anyone and put almost anyone. I'm not saying Jungle Ash. Almost any bruiser or fighter, and even AP, and put them in the jungle. Sorry, let me clear my throat. And put them in the jungle, and they'll succeed in some extent. And of course, you have to take care of some of their niches. A good example of this would be Nautilus, Leona, Zed, those kind of things. They have some functionalities as junglers. More so, like Nautilus is a good jungler, so I still believe so. But they have things that have to be taken care of and watched for before they're picked. Nautilus, we all know, is a guy that gets bitch slapped by almost any jungler in the game. So if you pick him into the wrong matchup or in the wrong team that can't actually protect him, then you're doing something wrong. Tier 3 is supposed to kind of, dictate as like Nautilus requires this from his team and has to watch for this and has these little situations in which he's just, which a lot of his advantages are nullified easily. Zed too is one of those. Like Zed has high farm requirement because he's an assassin fighter. He's a fragile guy. I mean, not as fragile as some other assassins. and his ganking isn't exactly the greatest. He farms like a beast, but yeah, and his sustain is terrible too. So those things have to be taken care of or padded, and then he could be a good choice. And Leona's pretty much on the same situation as Nautilus, in which, except a little bit higher damage, in which she's a great ganking jungler and she's got those things going for her, but there's things that have to be taken care of before you consider her as a pick. And the golden rule of the tier list has always been just because a champion or a jungler is on the lower tier, it doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad pick. There's a difference between being a good jungler and a good pick. Some junglers are doomed to being bad picks for most team comps, but being godly as junglers in general. Like Trundle is one of the better examples of this. I mean, when it comes to jungling, he's kind of jungle perfection almost. His ganking is nifty and wall is just powerful. He's self-sufficient and he's got amazing duelist and all that other stuff. He's got all the traits a jungler would want. However, he doesn't exactly fit in a lot of the current team comps and hasn't fit in a lot of the current team comps for a while. So, he's a good jungle, he's just not a good pick. That's the kind of thing that the tier list was trying to say a lot. I never told people these are the best picks because I always felt like I'd cheat people out of that. Like a long time ago when people only listened to the North American jungle picks, I would constantly tell people, you know what, the Koreans really love using Skarner. And like as much as people say, oh, he's not a top jungle pick, I would keep telling them he is in Korea. Pay attention. Like there's other, quote unquote metas and whatever in other parts of the world. And I don't frequently watch as much as I used to, but I used to just watch other streams and other news and whatever and read up on them and just figure out what they might want. This is what I found was the best method in order to get information on junglers I didn't know or how they're performing in other scenes. So I mean, hasn't the community been caught off guard before with other champions? Evelyn, for Europeans, they were using her. Nivea too. Gragas, remember a long ass time ago? Is that kind of crap. Is people seem to forget that other metas exist. Therefore, it's kind of stupid to just try to say, oh, these are the best jungle picks, or this is the best champions, because other metas might not agree with that, and other people might think you're stupid. So, besides that, even then, nobody can really know everything. Even the people in their own meta can't understand, oh, this champion's the best, of course, this champion's crap, because we've been surprised by that shit before so many fucking times. So, when I went about making the tier list, I didn't make one about being, the best jungle picks at the moment, or the best, most used junglers right now. I went about which characters make the most sense in the jungle, which champions fit the criteria for a jungle, whether or not they're good picks and such. And some people would question, what use is this? Well, the use for it is, how can you, try to experiment? It isn't like saying, oh, I want to experiment with Jungle LeBlanc or something like that. It's about, I want to try having a team that just, dominates the lanes, farms up fast, or pushes like crazy. So you might want a fast jungler, or you might a jungler that's great at pushing or a certain aspect. And I wanted to sort of gather that all up in information. And I mean, all that up with all its information. I have the spreadsheet saying that, and I sort of just want for people to look and be able to go, oh, let's see, Dr. Mundo has weaker ganking, but so great farming and so great build efficiency that we can get a big old beefy tank up and running really quickly, and he pushes great too with his E and his W. Sparkles and gadgets moving someone's head. That kind of stuff is what I wanted to do. I don't want to tell people, this is who the best ones are that you must pick. No, I will never do that, because that'd be arrogant of me trying to assume I know, like, who the best ones are there to pick. I would always say I'm leaving it up to the competitive players, because I don't know all that stuff. But what I do know is something that I can observe, something I can measure, and something that I can replicate. And that is, the fact that Cho'Gath is a super sustained jungler who has lots of tools for ganking, godlike transition, so much self-sufficiency, so much builds, and all that other stuff. And I had put him in tier 1 long ass time ago and have kept him there for a long time. And like, he fits all what I'd want in a jungler. Doesn't necessarily mean he's the one I can pick right now for this team comp, but he fits all I want in a jungler. Or at least what I think is good in a jungler. So, a lot of people won't agree with some of the things I've said. It's like, oh, why don't you have Nasus in tier 1? He's the one being most used. I'm like, I believe he has some issues as a jungler, but as a pick, I can't argue that he's making a lot of splashes. He's fitting a lot of the popular team comps or what teams really want in their, again, quote-unquote teams. So I haven't denied any of that. I haven't denied that Volibear is a pick that people love. I haven't denied that Hecarim's a really deadly solo queue. I've just like reasoned that they have certain things that to me doesn't seem as good for a jungler. I don't know how to actually put that. I had a thing to say, but nah, it got lost during the whole ranting. So rewinding a little bit. And at least to summarize, that is the golden, like the thing I'm just trying to I'm hoping people understand is in the old tier list that I have, this tier list, I am not trying to dictate jungle picks and have never tried to dictate jungle picks. That is the last thing I wanted to do. I simply wanted to display information or who is a well-rounded jungler that fits a lot of things or can fit a lot of teams or is generally just pretty awesome as a jungler all around or in a specific jungle role, like merciless ganking jungler, completely dominating control jungler, that kind of stuff. So again, I wasn't trying to dictate anything. I leave that to the actual pro players in the competitive scene. So with that said, what I feel I'm gonna have to do is, if it works out, because I still have to please the Reign of Gaming gods, or else I get fired, or they get fired, somebody gets fired, is I will convert the tier list into a category list or something like that, where I will have multiple spreadsheets, multiple facts and data for different types of champions, and have more numbers there. I mean, not numbers as in tiers, more numbers like as in clear time and probably effectiveness times or whatever, and go into more detail into like their team fighting, their ambushing or whatever. I'll just break down all the aspects even further and just kind of roll with that and make a category of, here are all the ganking junglers, here are all the junglers that are great at controlling and all that other stuff. I'll have to exclude some characters or whatever, and I'll probably have to in some way say which characters are more gimmicky than others, but I would have to do my best to avoid saying this is the top junglers and these are the worst junglers, because it seems to piss off people when their favorite jungler isn't at the top, or when the flavor of the month isn't at the top either. So I'll be switching from, like I said before, from numbers, aka tiers, to categories and sheets, lots and lots of spreadsheets. So I hope you can bear with that. And the second iteration of the Quinn one will probably come around next week, or hopefully Sunday, Monday, and people won't give me as much crap. I mean, normally I wouldn't care for the criticism because I've had it for a while, but at this point, I just kind of have to acknowledge that the tier list is no longer easy to make and easy to reason. There's, like I said earlier, too many valuable champions, too many choices, too many strong characters, and frankly put, it's becoming really hard to even pull one jungler over another, or to even or organize it in any way. Too many. So I think categories is the best way to go, and it'll hopefully relieve a lot of angry stress from people. And yeah, hopefully it will be able to convey my opinions and thoughts better, and people won't rage at, oh my god, my Sejuani's tier 4, I've lost our respect for you, Stonewall. Why? I don't get it. Anyways, Thanks for listening if you made it this far.